Street Talk.
It's Street Talk time. Gemma,
Yes.
we've got 2 episodes to talk about, 6 storylines, mostly just 2 big ones there and a couple of extra bits. So we are going to... I've got a new storyline title for this week, and I revealed this to you the other day, and you weren't impressed, but I think it's pretty...
Say it again.
Jacob's Dada.
Oh, like ladder,
Like
yeah.
Jacob's... We are watching Jacob's Dada Dada. We are watching
that?
Jacob's Dada Dada. We are watching...
Hang on, what are you doing?
Jacob's Dada. It's the song.
What song?
Jacob's Ladder.
What song? What Jacob's Ladder? I thought it was a movie, a horror movie.
It's a hymn.
Oh, it's a horror movie.
It's a
isn't
biblical reference, but I don't think either Jacob or Damon know anything about that. Anyway,
This is a horror movie.
well, it's also
Where's
where it was
Jacob's Ladder then? What's that in
it's
the
a
Bible?
thing in the Bible. Go
What's
and
it do?
ask Billy. Right, so we're going
Okay.
to talk about that character, that storyline
I
first.
was like, is it a horror
Did you
film?
really not realise that was a biblical reference?
I don't think so.
Shame
I was thinking to myself, what? I thought, what this horror movie had a little song in it.
Okay,
Okay, I guess it's kind of scary. Little children are singing it.
Speaking of scary, we've got the Maxtremism storyline next, where
I
they went on
know.
their scary racist camping trip.
And they didn't know girls allowed, and I couldn't come.
No,
And I had my cauldron, and their honestly, their pot was rubbish, and they had a stupid upturned basket for their grate. They're just
save your
amateurs.
criticism for later, Gemma. Up next, we have got
Rubbish.
the Lumps of Daisy story, where we get to find out what's up with Daisy. Spoiler alert, she's fine. Next up, and here's a storyline that Gemma and many other people online I have seen have now predicted the the punchline to. A couch for a grouch is the storyline, because George's attempt at a Christmas present for this year is a present for Eileen, which is a sofa. Gemma thinks she knows what's going to happen. I think she's probably right. We had a little bit of a tying off of the Summer Done a Runner storyline. I think there's something not going on quite right there. And the Tie the Knot story made an appearance today as well. So I will take the Jacob's Dada storyline, if it's okay with you.
I hated this.
Why did you hate it?
I thought it doesn't make any sense.
Let's find... There were bits of it that could have made more sense. But it's
Go
a new
on.
character to add to the mix, which is always fun.
You tell
So,
me what happened.
Jacob, as we know, is the world's best salesman.
Yeah.
Carla, as we know, knows nothing about selling knickers, and
No.
she needs the help of a teenage boy to help her meet up with some American bloke online later. So he's dead chuffed about this. What would they do without him? So that's, by the by, that kind of happens. So then he goes outside, and do you remember this mysterious stranger?
Mysterious.
There it goes. Remember the mysterious stranger that
I've gone
came up to
delirious.
Jason
My
last
cold's
week?
made
Not
me
Jason.
delirious.
Oh,
I think
I
the
call him
virus has
Jason,
reached
but he's
my brain.
Jacob. But did you see how this guy is calling him J-Boy? That is Jason Grimshaw's nickname.
It's wrong.
Take him in vain.
Yeah.
So this guy comes up to him from last week, and he's like, "Hello, you." And Jacob is, "I want to meet up with you later." And Jacob is clearly terrified of this bloke. Amy comes up next to Jacob, and the bloke says, "Hello, I am Damon. I am Jacob's dad." And Jacob says, "No way, you're not my dad anymore, man." And he kind of makes a hasty exit into the factory, and Amy's like, "Oh, you had nothing to do with him for all these years. Oh, go away."
He
And so
said,
she goes into the factory
You may be
as
my
well.
father, but you'll never be my dad.
Yeah, something like that. So Amy follows Jacob into the factory, and he kind of gives him a bit of a backstory dump. It wasn't much
Can
of
I
a
just
dump,
say,
really.
this storyline just made Carla look like an absolute mug.
Come back to and tell
Amy
me
comes
that
into
later.
the factory, and Carla's like, "Get out!" And she's like, "No, I'm talking to my boyfriend."
She's like, "Hello, woman who doesn't work here." Like, I thought that was a free
Get out!
the thoroughfare
We're
to
doing
the
important
to the
business in
bins
here.
out the back.
I need to dispose of a body, says Amy.
So what we find out from Jacob is that he used to think that his dad was the coolest bloke on earth. But then he was a fair weather father. He'd turn up every now and then with a load of presents for him, flashing the cash. He's a bit of a wide boy, isn't he, this guy?
Yeah.
And then time between appearances gradually increased. And the last time Jacob says he saw him was on his 16th birthday,
Was that last
which
week?
was 4 years ago. Now we have got an age for Jacob. I don't know if we had that before, but apparently we do. Anyway, Jacob says he didn't want anything to do with him anymore because he abandoned him as a child. And he's also terrified of him because he's dodgy or something. And Amy says, "Look, you should talk to him. And if you don't, you'll regret it." Jamie goes to see his...
Jacob.
I'm getting his name wrong. I've called him Jacob, Jason and Jamie all in the course of 5 minutes.
Who do you think you are? Is a
Jacob,
strange dad?
the one with the ladder. He goes to see his dad in the hotel because, Damon tells him earlier, I'm staying at the only hotel in Weatherfield and I'm going to be in the bar there later on, so why don't you come and join me? And Jacob is persuaded by Amy that maybe this wouldn't be such a bad idea. And he goes up to him and says, "Oi, you, I don't want anything to do with you. I've had a really rough past few years, actually, selling drugs for Harvey and all that. He's been looking after me. And he nearly killed me. He broke both my legs once." And Damon is livid by this. He goes,
Go on.
"Revelation. My brother laid his hands on you?"
My child.
That's right, everybody. They're related. This guy, Damon, is Harvey's brother. Which means that Jacob is Harvey's nephew.
Wow.
Wow.
Does that mean that Sharon's is aunt?
Sharon is his great aunt. The Gaskell-Bentley family tree is suddenly swollen this week.
So what's Jacob's surname?
Hay.
Jacob, so Gaskell, Bentley, Hay.
Yeah. So the family tree goes, you got Sharon, and she had her brother Wayne.
Yes.
And then Wayne's son was Harvey. And possibly Damon. I don't know whether they're brothers from the same mother, but they do have different surnames, so possibly they're half-brothers.
Maybe one of them took his wife's name when they got married.
Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so they're all related. They're all family. Isn't that lovely, everybody?
Oh, it's really nice, actually. And it makes me feel more warm towards them because everybody likes a family business.
Yeah.
Like, pharmaceutical families are very big in America, aren't they? So what's the problem with this? So
they're the new crime family of Weatherfield anyway, aren't they? What's the big crime family we have here?
Craze.
The Craze, yes. So the Weatherfield Craze now. So, the Craze and the Haze, see, it rhymes, doesn't it?
Yeah, makes sense now.
Yeah. Anyway, Jacob says, "Look, I don't want anything to do with you.
Don't tell everybody about
Don't
my
tell everyone
past.
we're related, please. I need to go anyway because I got a text from work. Sorry."
Don't tell everyone Harvey's my uncle because I'll lose my job at the knicker factory.
So Jacob goes back to work, leaving Damon there in the bar of Chariot Square, and he rings someone up and he's like, "It's me, I need a favour." He doesn't sound anything like that.
Why not? Just let's go with that.
Generic gangster voice. So Jacob he says he's going back to work, but he actually just goes and dosses around at the Christmas market for a little bit with Amy and
lazy ass.
Well, Damon has invited him and her out to lunch at the other place owned by Debbie. Oh no, it's not Debbie's anymore. What's Debbie doing these days?
Where's Debbie gone?
I'm getting worried for her. Never mind Summer. Where's Debbie gone
Jacob
to?
invites them. Damon
says, "Let's have
rich.
lunch. Let's have lunch at the bistro, everybody." And Amy loves this because it's a mega treat because they never go to the bistro at any other time. And so they're going to go along to that. But then we cut to the prison. And
somebody recycles
so there's some stock footage of Harvey because Will Mellor's too busy almost winning Strictly Come Dancing when this was filmed. It was about a half a second of him just kind of sitting there in the cell, wasn't there? They certainly didn't get Will Mellor in just for that. And some heavy / goon comes up to the guard outside of Harvey's cell and says, "Do one,
new one.
Do one. Ooh." And the guard's like, "Bloody hell, calm down, I'm out of here. You tell me to do one?" And the guy says, "Damon Hale, make it worth your while." So this guy is obviously in Damon's pocket. Goon goes in the cell with a very menacing-looking relay baton, it seemed to be. And he's like, "Hello, Harvey."
And then Harvey goes, "Ow! Oh!"
We don't get to hear what happens next because we
Blam.
had to use it to our imagination. So once again, there's potentially a quite exciting action scene and potential Lecky Thump candidate for next year as well. We just had to do it in our brains.
I didn't need to see
But
that.
so Harvey gets beaten up, and then there's obviously nothing else going on in Weatherfield at the moment because within the hour it's made its way onto the Weatherfield Recorder's online page.
Yeah, but to be
somehow.
fair, normally on the front page of the Recorder is just a picture of Maria photoshopped as the Grinch. Going, "I don't like Christmas."
The Gazette. I don't know how the Gazette found out about this. Do the prison like to advertise when their inmates get beaten up because they've got a bent guard in there?
Well, probably somebody bored just phoned up the cops and phoned up the paper and told them. That's what normally happens. Or somebody tweeted about it.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so Jacob and Amy and Damon are meeting up outside the bistro, and the teens go in first because Damon's getting a phone call from guy on the inside, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the job's been done. Fantastic. Harvey's been taught a lesson." So lunch is in full swing later. Amy is very much charmed by David. I'm getting his bloody name wrong today. Damon's tales of his life in Ibiza, and Jacob's like, "No, I'm not having any of it. I don't want you to be my dad, actually. You were a mega neglectful father. I never saw you. You drove me to taking drugs, to selling drugs and all." Did Jacob take drugs or did you just sell them? I don't remember, but drugs-wise, I'm putting that down to you, Dad. Anyway, I need to go to the loo. So Jacob pops off to the bog.
Go for a slush.
And very handily, as he's walking past the bar, he hears Leanne talking to Nick about this news article that she's just read online about Harvey being beaten up in prison. And Jacob's like, "Crikey, I wonder if my dad had anything to do with that."
Leanne, less leaning, more cleaning.
Yeah. So Leanne and Nick are talking about Harvey later, and Leanne seems pretty pleased that he's got a taste of his own medicine inside.
Vengeful.
No, she properly is. She's like you, isn't she? They both agree that hopefully he'll be taken to the other side of the country. Now, what? Leanne kind of thinks that. They both kind of think it could happen to him, that he's going to be moved to another prison. Nick's obviously a little bit worried about this because this is his cash source that's potentially disappearing now because you can't transfer money from the other side of the country. I don't really know. Anyway, Jacob's asking Damon later back at the table whether this was down to you, Harvey's beating, and Damon's like, "I don't know anything about it. My old brother getting beaten up, why would I do that? No, definitely want me, no way." So Jacob and Amy are somewhat appeased by this. They head off home, leaving Damon and Nick in the bistro. Damon needs to pay. And he kind of goes up to Nick and he's like, "So, me and you need to have a bit of a chat later because we've got some business that we need to attend to." And Nick does his screwed up face. "Oh, what are you talking? Who are you going? Have we met? I did have brain damage. Maybe I've forgotten you. I don't know." And Damon says, "All will become clear, mate." So back at home later, Jamie and Amy talk about Damon.
Jamie and Amy?
Jacob and Amy talk about Damon. It's that Amy, Damon, Jacob, Amy. He really hopes that Damon is being genuine in all this. But he's not. He's well dodgy.
He's evil.
Because he's inside Nick's office later with Mr. Tilsley himself, and he's like, "Right, that money that Harvey loaned you is actually my money. So you're working for me kind of now." And I didn't say that Harvey said you could have it. But it's no sweat because, it looks like you're doing all right with this place. So who knows, he says, maybe I might even be able to help you out. And Nick's like, "No, I don't need your help. Thanks very much." And Damon says, "Well, we'll see about that, won't we?"
Dun, dun, dun.
Episode ends with Damon's feet right under the table at Bistro.
Got a quick question,
yes.
Right? My question is, when Harvey offered to give Nick this money, did he have a grand scheme in mind, or is it just? It doesn't make any sense to me why
his
he gave
little
him money.
heartstrings were tugged by
it wasn't
Sam's
he was
tails.
clearly up to something, and whatever plot line that is just gone now, because Damon's turned up.
Well,
was it because Will Mellor got a job on Strictly and he's like, I'm not coming back in, rewrite it?
No, I don't know.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't. It doesn't make any logical sense to me.
Baddies don't just loan goodies money for the sake of it.
I mean, it's obviously something just boring blackmail, but it feels like there's a missing story element.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether we're going to see any more of Harvey again.
We're not going to see him again.
Well, we might do. I mean, they're suggesting that he's been shipped to the other end of the country, but I suppose that he was always only so much of a threat to Nick being behind bars, and now suddenly it's pretty much exactly the same threat with a character that's walking free. So
I just find it weird because I was actually really intrigued, to be honest, about what is he up to, what's he going to do, yada yada, and then it turns out he wasn't up to anything.
Well, now we get to wonder what Damon's up to, don't we? So, stage 1 of his plan goes into action on Wednesday, which is Operation Get Jacob a Job at the Bistro.
This was stupid.
You were being a right grum watching Coronation.
I wasn't actually.
Tonight.
You said I was being grumpy, but I wasn't. I was having a great time.
You were enjoying Chris. I didn't mind it too much this week. I've seen loads of people really, really, really enjoyed this week's Coronation Street. I thought it was fine.
This whole plot strand of Wednesday should have just been thrown in the bin.
Let me tell people about it in case they've forgotten what happened or they haven't watched it yet. So Damon shows up at the bistro and Nick says, here is Leanne, my partner. And
she's really nice usually. Don't let her sour-faced attitude put you off.
Damon makes out that he's an old friend of Nick's, and she's like, I've never heard of you, even though that I've known Nick since he was 16.
Yeah, we've literally
We've known each other all our lives, but I never heard of you. But she's not pleased when Damon reveals that Nick's been telling him about their money troubles, and Damon's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm mega loaded. I've got some very lucrative businesses going over on in Ibiza, so I can lend you some money at mates rates if you like. And Leanne's like, I'm not really sure about this. I don't even know who this guy is. She kind of tells Nick later, and Nick says, oh yeah, and also I'd probably better just tell you now, because I don't want this coming out in weeks' time. He's actually Jacob's dad. Yeah, sorry about that.
Does he say that?
He does. He tells her that that he's Jacob's dad, and he says, well, just because he's related to Jacob, don't make him dodgy or anything. And it looks like Jacob's turned a bit of a corner, to be honest. And she's like, fine. Not happy about Jacob. Don't like him after everything he put our family through the other year. But you do what you want with this Damon guy. But if this goes pear-shaped, it's on you, mister. Later on, Carla catches Jacob again because she wants more late-night business chats with Mr. America later. Another little business meeting later on. He's like, yes, please. I need all the overtime work I can get. Thank you very much. Damon and Nick meet up for a chat in the pub again as well later. Nick's getting a little bit worried about Leanne smelling a rat over this whole, I've got your money and you got me over a barrel here. So Damon says, look, first thing I want you to do, please, is give Jacob a job at the bistro here. And Nick's like, hang on, he's already got a job at the factory. And he's like, nope, I'm sure you'll be able to talk Leanne round. He's my son, sort it. So there we go. Jacob comes into the pub later, goes up to his dad, and he's like, Nick's just said that I can have a job at the bistro. What's going on? I don't want a job at the bistro. Where's that come from? What's going on? And Damon says, well, son, I've invested a bit of money in the place and I need you there to keep an eye on things. Okay, so Jacob then has to go and tell Carla, can't do this sales call later because I got a job at the bistro and I need to be shown all the ropes and where the glasses and stuff are and where all the olives are kept.
That was the most hilarious thing where Nick was just going, I mean, I don't know if you're blind or not, but here's the alcohol. You're standing next to it. Here are the glasses. You're standing next to them.
You've got to have some kind of initiation. Yes. Jacob's not done bar work before.
What is he doing there?
I know he's been in the customer service industry for Harvey, but it's different kind of drug he'll be giving out at the bistro. Higher class. So anyway, Carla's not happy. Simon says that he'll join in and help out or something, I don't know. But anyway, Simon's kind of confused about this because I think last week when he was looking for jobs, he ask Nick and Leanne whether he could work for them in the bistro, and they said, sorry, we ain't got any jobs going on. So he's like, how come they've taken on Jacob when they hate his guts? They must really, really despise me, he was probably thinking. Which is sad, because actually I've really enjoyed Simon this past few weeks. When he's not there just trying to be threatening and grimacing, when he's just kind of nice, I quite like him. Are you finding him?
I thought it was quite funny. I loved it.
Are you enjoying Simon in his new, slightly more cheerful persona?
No, he's not. What do you mean? He's moaning again.
He's not. He's fairly happy. I think that they've done a good job with him at the moment.
He's going to be moaning.
Oh, he's been all right so far. So Carla sees Leanne in the shop later and says, "Oh, what are you doing, poaching my best staff?" And Leanne's like, "What do you mean? So Carla says, well, he's working at the bistro now."
Carla's like, I've been in the business longer than this kid's been alive, but my God, he can sell knickers in a way I've never seen.
And Leanne's like, no. Nick would never dream of employing Jacob, especially not without asking me. And Carla says, well, he has. So Leanne clops right off to have it out with Nick. And she goes and says, well, you told him he can have a job here. You can blame him well and tell him. And Nick says, no, I can't really. You're kind of doing it for Damon. Sorry, Jacob is working here now. So, and that's kind of it, really. There's a little scene at the end of the episode at number 1 where Amy finds out that she's done well in her university assignment. Good for her. That's like she's going to make it further than anybody else in the history of Coronation Street by making it into the 2nd semester. And Jacob tells him about the bistro job, and she's not super thrilled about this because they barely ever see each other anyway. And now he's going to be working nights, so when they're going to get any time together? And he basically manages to talk around.
Each other.
He talks around. So it's all good and happy in the Barlow house at the end of the episode.
Why doesn't she get a job?
Because she's at university.
I had
She's
a job
got a
at
grant.
university. I had a job at university. Thank you.
I don't think lots of people do though. She's fine. She didn't. She's got a Blanche money. She's doing,
lazy.
She's doing just fine. So that was what happened in that storyline this week. Damon, Gemma.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts.
It looked like he'd been on the racist camping trip today because his eyes were a bit pink, weren't they?
They did.
It looked like he'd been blown up.
Yeah, it looks like somebody had been at him with mace at the beginning of today's episode. So I don't know what's happening there.
I just remember the actor from The Bill, and he was like a little cherub-faced police officer in that.
Yeah.
So I can't be mad at him because I'm like, oh, you're doing your best.
I think that he's doing.
Maybe he's an undercover policeman.
I think that he's doing a fairly good job of playing a different type of character than what we've seen him before. I think that he's not too bad at being quite threatening. I
can't get those vibes of him. I like him too much.
No, it's been long enough since I've seen him in The Bill.
And it's weird because I was never really that into The Bill, and I don't even remember what his character was even called.
Gary Best.
Well, there you go.
No, I think he's doing a good job. Unfortunately,
excuse me, I'm not saying he's doing a bad job.
Yeah,
I'm saying that my preconceptions are still there.
Well, it's early days. He's only been in it two episodes so far.
What's so bad about saying I like him?
No, nothing. That's fine. No, you say you like him. I think he seems like a decent actor to me and a good addition to the show. Unfortunately, he's kind of playing the type of character archetype that I'm never
They're all the
mega
same,
thrilled with.
All these
grinning
gangsters
gangster
are just the same person, aren't they?
Grinning, blackmailing gangster that's kind of like,
swaggery, lavish, similar age, almost always white guy with brown hair.
Got a bit of double to make him look cool.
Not that tall.
He's definitely shorter than his son, isn't he?
I mean, I think David could take him on.
No, I like the fact that they're giving Jacob a bit of a backstory because he's been in the show for a couple of years now. We've not known very much about him. I think that the revelation about them all being related to Harvey is fine. I think when it came out, me and you just kind of looked at each other with a kind of quizzical expression, didn't we? Rather than oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Because it's one of those things that, well, they certainly never intended that to be the case, did they? When they brought Jacob and Harvey in it last year, they weren't actually going to be related to each other.
No, they must have had a little thing where, like, have we ever said anything about who his dad is?
You'd have just thought it'd be the sort of thing that would have probably come up.
Yep.
When they were working together before, but it didn't. Go on.
This is the sort of thing, what I was saying before about, I can't remember what storyline I was talking about. Oh, they haven't explained this and that about this character or this situation, and it's because of reasons like this, because then they can go back and say, aha.
But it seems like it's a bit of a thing Ian McLeod likes to do, to make out that, and it turns out that so-and-so is related to so-and-so. Because, I mean, we even had that in this same family before with Sharon being related to Harvey, didn't we?
Yeah, it does. It's not needed because we already had a link between Harvey and Jacob. We didn't need him to be his uncle.
No, it all just seems a bit convenient. It's fine, whatever, but I don't think it was necessarily needed. It was the same. I mean, we also had, like, turns out that Emma is related to Steve.
Yeah.
Turns out that Sam is related to Nick, and it's like not everybody is really related to each other or needs to be.
You got to be careful about using it too much because because it loses its power.
Yeah.
And it really didn't need. It wasn't a sort of significant gasp moment. And honestly, ongoing, what the hell difference is it going to make, really?
He could have just been a mate, possibly.
Damon and Harvey could have just been school friends who are drug lords together.
They may well have other plans in the future where it necessitates them being related, but I don't know.
I'm going to reserve judgment for that reason, but at the moment, I'm just giving it a big what?
Yeah, me too. It's
I'm
fine.
not mad about it.
I'm
It
not.
just
I'm not
doesn't-
saying no. There's no way that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't necessarily need it. But I was also kind of looking back and saying, so did Jacob and Sharon ever have any scenes together where their relationship would have, been brought up, and it didn't, because Sharon left the show like a month before Jacob came in. So so close to ships that passed in the night there. But anyway, so that's the story. It felt like, although there was some backstory there which was nice, I didn't really get why Jacob was mad at him, because he was just like, oh, you were never there for me.
What? You don't get why you would be mad at your dad for not helping?
Well, no, it just wasn't developed any further than that, was it? It's like, you used to be cool, and then you were never there for me, and you look like proper scared of him and everything as well. So maybe it just feels like there's maybe a little bit more.
It is a bit confusing because
If I was going to have a character being reintroduced to their estranged dad, and I wanted the easiest method of explaining what the backstory is, then I'd probably say, oh, the dad was just never there for him as a child. And that feels like, the draft idea, and it didn't feel like it went any further than that. But as I say, it's still early days.
Gone from, oh, I'm scared of him, to, oh, he got me a job in like 2 episodes.
Well, I think he, in a way, he might be doing it for Amy, because she seems to be particularly charmed by the handsome future father-in-law potential. So I don't know, maybe it's to do with that. But the whole thing at the bistro, it gave me vibes of the money laundering story they had at Speed Dial last year, with Hashim, and it's like, and Zidane had to do all of this dodgy stuff so that he could pay Hashim back, and now it feels like it's going to be the same. Nick's kind of working with this dodgy guy, and Leanne's not going to know about it, just the same as Yasmin didn't know about it. You feeling similar to you?
Here's an idea. Why doesn't a different business become a front for money laundering? Why is it always the bistro?
Has bistro been money laundering before?
Well, I don't know what they're up to, but there's always some kind of criminal activity or blackmail going on. If there's going to be a business that's going to have dodgy dealings, it's always the bistro, isn't it?
But I just said it was Speed Dial last year. They're sharing it round. There's only 2 businesses on the street anyway.
You never get Dev like, oh no.
That's a good point. They haven't had that one yet, as far as I remember.
You never have it at Roy's. You never have it at the corner shop. You never have it at the pub.
Can you imagine somebody tried to persuade Roy to secretly smuggle drugs inside the cream horns or something?
That makes sense. I won't do that. That's illegal. You know what I mean? It feels like the restaurants, there's just something inherently dodgy about the restaurant trade.
Yeah. I don't particularly mind that it hasn't been the other ones. It just feels like it's a bit of a tried and tested story. You got a dodgy gangster that's got a business owner over a barrel, and what lengths will they go to try and keep the secret, rather than just telling the police about it and all what it could be fun, but it feels so far like I've seen it before. I
don't get what Nick's sucker, isn't he?
Yes.
This guy just comes out of nowhere and goes, all right, mate, you owe me money now, not Harvey. And he goes, right, I won't check. I'm not going to phone Harvey up and ask him. I'm just going to take your word for it, and then I'm going to hire somebody that are they married, or I've forgotten if
Nick and Leanne? No.
Are they married at the moment?
No.
They've been married for 4. My girlfriend literally hates this man, and he was there at one of the worst periods in her life, and but you're telling me I need to hire him as a waiter even though we can't afford to, or whatever he's been hired to do. Okay, cool, no problem at all. What the hell are you doing, Nick? You stupid, gullible idiot.
It's because he's taken the money off Harvey, and he doesn't want to face the wrath of Leanne if that ever comes out.
What's the problem with that? At the moment, what crime has he committed?
He's lied to Leanne.
I know she thinks that should be illegal, but it's not actually a crime.
Leanne thinks that they're dipping into Sam's funds, doesn't she?
I know, right? But Nick is just being a dumb idiot.
Yeah.
Damon didn't come in and go, let me work with you, otherwise I'm telling Leanne that you got this money off Harvey. He doesn't know that Leanne doesn't know this.
I can't remember. He might know that.
Well, the only way he could know that is if bloody Nick told him, like an idiot.
I think he did. I think he said, "Oh, I don't want my partner to find out."
Okay, well, he's an idiot. Nick's just a stupid idiot, and this whole situation, it makes no sense. The same way as it makes no sense why Carla suddenly can't do anything without Jacob holding her hand and stroking her hair and telling her she's a good girl. And why is Jacob jeopardizing his much more lucrative, surely, position as a salesperson at Underworld? Well, surely he works on commission. Why is he passing that up so he can go and wait tables at the bistro?
But no, he's doing both, isn't he? Nick a salesman by day.
No, because he's passed up an opportunity to ingratiate himself with Carla, and if he's involved in that sale call with Guilfoyles or whatever, surely he's going to get a bit of money out of that because it's commission. Why is he being such a dimwit? And also, why did Carla let Jacob, a 20-year-old man boy, say, "No, Carla, I'm not coming in, actually. I've got another job." And she's like, "Oh, no, that's really bad. Oh, poor me." I'd be like, "No, you're not. You can do what I told you to do, and then you can start your job." Why? He didn't even start the job that day because Nick said to Leanne he's starting tomorrow. So what? Jacob passed up the opportunity for extra money and to help out the boss. So he could go to the bistro and Nick could go, "These are glasses. This is what we serve liquid in."
I get what you're saying. It doesn't
turned
all hold
Carla
water.
into an absolute idiot.
Well, she's already been going there anyway, hasn't she?
It made Nick look like a gullible fool. Jacob had absolutely no reason why he wants to work at the bistro, and as far as I can tell, I don't know, like what. I presume that Damon's got some kind of nefarious reason for why he wants his son to work there, because he's going to put pressure on, he's going to make him spy on Nick or whatever, and it's all going to get very fraught and stuff. But this just feels a bit like the most clumsy way of getting to that situation. I just think they needed to get there too quickly, and everybody just made no sense.
Do you have any particular clues about what Damon his nefarious deeds are? Is it going to be laundering? Boring. Is it going to be smuggling drugs?
It's going to be boring criminal stuff, isn't it? It's be like, "Oh, I bought a bunch of wine, but I didn't really buy it. It fell off the back of a van. We can sell it, and then we keep all the money." And Nick will be like, "Oh no, you can't do that." And he'll be like, "Well, we're going to." And then he'll be like, "Oh, a man's going to turn up and he's going to order a steak, but he doesn't want a steak, he wants some drugs. So just put it on the plate and cover it in gravy." You know what I mean? It's always the same. It's always boring.
I'm not a mega fan of the dark and gritty businessy crime sorts of stories.
Money
like
laundering
this
is so easy to do in businesses like that where you have cash. Where you just be like, "Oh, we had 100 people come in on Monday and they all had lobster thermidor."
I tell you what, Gemma.
Yes.
You might be criticising this, but you're forgetting that this does give us the potential of another appearance by Bistro Ninja.
That's what I mean.
We've got to get Bistro Ninja out of this if we're going to go through another dodgy Bistro storyline.
The fact is that the Bistro Ninja has been more than one person who's worked out there and independently came up with the idea to rob the bistro. Silly.
Who's next? Is Jacob going to be the next Bistro Ninja?
I just thought this was a bit silly.
Well,
I think I was in a bad mood, and
you were just a tad.
And also, Amy's right here. Like, what? Why are you working during the evening? And he's like, "Oh, we need money so we can move out." What? Tomorrow? No, just relax. Just calm down. Also, the way house prices are, you're never going to be able to buy your own place, so just forget it and buy your avocado toast and stay renting in your house.
I saw in the news today that house prices are going to drop 10% over the next year.
Oh no.
They're already pretty cheap up north.
I suppose. I mean, why did it not come up? It would have made sense if one of them had said, if like Jacob said, "Oh, I've got to take up more work because Summer's moved out and we need to cover the rent." Ta-da! There you go. There's a compelling reason why.
Well, maybe he did say that. I don't know.
Well, I wasn't listening because I was too busy slagging it off.
Well, I enjoyed the fact that we got more Jacob and Amy scenes. I think they're a very interesting couple that have been sadly underused in the past year. I like the character of Jacob. I like Amy. Amy just seems as like she's such a smart cookie and she's switched on. I'm really pleased with her doing her university stuff and everything. So it's great that they're possibly going to be getting a story now.
Amy's smarter than everybody put together on that whole street. She needs to get the hell away from there.
Right.
Sorry, I was nitpicking. That was just silly nitpicking. I know it was silly nitpicking.
That's what we're here for, isn't it? Christmas nitpicking. Maxtremism next, Gemma. This storyline was the bomb, wasn't it? What happened?
I liked how it ended on a revelation that we could actually talk about, because I was like, ta-da, then we can talk about it in the show.
He did and all.
On Monday, Spider goes round to Griff's and he's trying to get details about the finances, because he needs to uncover who's funding them. And
It's not Damon.
he sees the bills and he tries to ask about it, and Griff's like, what are you, my accountant or something? And Max is there as well, and they're going on a racist camping trip, and they're like, oh, it's all about fitness. I'm drinking beer. Now this reminded me of the videos that I came out of, and I don't know, I didn't really look into it, but all these like real right-wing extremist groups in America, I'm sure that they released a training video of a bunch of like middle-aged dad bod men like jumping about and trying to train up for the upcoming race war, and looking like a bunch of sad sacks. So I wondered if it was going to go down that route of them, like, oh, we're going to have to do push-ups and then we can win the race war. Oh,
maybe that's where it was going to go before the bomb went off.
But genuinely, people think that is going to happen. It's really messed up. Got a laugh, haven't you? Later on, Spider's still trying to get money information out of Griff. He's like, don't worry about it. I'm going to meet one of my main donors soon and you're not coming, because this guy likes to keep things quiet. Max finds David in the cafe later and he wants money to go on this racist camping trip. And he says it's Griff, and David says, oh, it's a racist survival camp, is it?
Yeah, he's saying it's a survival camp, and David said, oh, a racist survival camp, so it's not just us.
No. And he points out that Griff's twice his age and he's not going to hang out with
I say
him.
he's over twice his age.
Yeah. Yeah, he must be.
He must be.
He's not 30, is he?
No.
Well, I don't know.
He's older than us, says Griff, surely.
Hatred ages you, Michael.
I might go so far as to say that he's almost 3 times Max's age, but...
I tell you what, if hatred does
here.
age you, then I'm aging in dog years, I think. No, it's the other way around, isn't it?
I don't know.
I'm going to die soon of old age. Griff goes to the Christmas market, and guess what?
What?
The benefactor is Councillor What's-His-Face.
Yes, Leonard thingy. You know, that guy. The one who was parking in the places that he shouldn't have been parking last year.
You could tell he was the wrong one from that, can't you?
Maria was right.
And he's the one that doesn't like Maria.
Didn't like Maria. Didn't like Sally. Didn't like Fergus.
But here's my question, right? And I don't want to blame Maria for racism, but was he racist before Maria came along and started annoying him about immigrants? Or did it suddenly turn him?
Well, he's hardly been in it. Like,
That was a terrible joke.
I'm just kind of launching onto the fact that it was a big revelation that, oh, guess what? The donor is Councillor Leonard. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I think that was another one.
I like that. I thought that was good.
Oh, no, it didn't really bother me because he was...
I just like the
He's
idea
only
that
been in a couple of episodes so far this year.
I just like the idea that he was so annoyed by this meeting that he had with Maria where she tried to make it into a Windsor market that he's literally funding a hate group to try to get back at her and blow her up.
He's always been racist.
Well, that's the impression that you're supposed to get, isn't it? Griff wants more money, and the councillor says, I can't give you any more. We've got to talk in the villain's alley. And so they go down there, and Councillor Leonard is very uncomfortable. And Griff's like, oh, the campaign's working nicely. We're driving the political landscape to the right, just like you like it. And Leonard's got no choice. He's got to cough up extra money for their racist survival camp. I don't know what they paid for, though. They have to catch their own rabbit.
It's the petrol to go out there, probably. It's expensive these days.
Oh my God, it's so pathetic. This was kind of dumb as well, isn't it? Like, I feel like you don't need to fund a racist group of white supremacists if you're the local councillor to get everyone riled up about immigrants. You just tweet something about it with a secret account and suddenly everyone's frothing at the mouth and writing into the local paper.
I think it's the bomb. They don't come cheap, I hear.
I don't know, do they? It looked homemade to me. What do you make them out of?
I don't know.
Coronation Street should tell us step by step. David comes home, finds Max packing his bags, and Max like, oh, you can't stop me. Nobody wants around here anyway. I found my tribe now, which is definitely feels like a word that's been put into his vocabulary by Griff. David says, you're just Griff's little puppet. And Mike goes, Mike just turns up.
Mike wasn't in it this week.
Max goes upstairs. David and Shona are at speed dial later and chatting about Max. And Arlie overhears and she's concerned. And she says, you should ground him. And Shona's like, oh, he's a decent lad deep down. He'll see through it before too long. Which, you know, feels a bit annoying if you're Arlie. Like, oh, just let him be racist. He's just a kid.
Just a phase.
It's just a racist phase. We all go through it. Max goes to tell the racist that he's in for the camping trip.
Your poor voice.
I know. And they're like, hooray. But Lauren's not coming because girls have got cooties. It's only for men. So, guess what, Michael?
What?
I'm upset now because they're not just racist, they're misogynist. And I
Sexist
won't
racist.
stand for that.
Well, I bet they wish they'd have had her with her because I bet she'd have known how to cook a rabbit.
She would have cooked a rabbit and she wouldn't have blown up the car.
No.
On Wednesday, Max is excited to go on this camping trip. David and Shona are not happy about it. There's nothing they can do. He tries to tell him that Griff's using him, but it doesn't make any difference. So they all go to the he goes round to the Griff's house and they're all packing.
We saw a bit of the corridor up to Griff's door this week, didn't we? Or was it last week? I can't remember. But it seems like that they've got a bit of an extension to his set.
I don't know why it's not in the precinct, but there must be a reason. So Griff's like, oh, Reese, have you got the Christmas crackers? And Spider's like, oh, I like Christmas crackers. Honestly, this would not be...
I like the little fortune-telling fish.
Yeah, I like the funny joke.
It tells me that there's climate change is happening.
No.
The world is ending soon.
No. Yeah, this wouldn't be a way of hiding a bomb in the car. If you're around me and you say Christmas crackers, I immediately am excited and I want the Christmas crackers. And if you don't have them, I'm going to be asking questions about where they are. So, Toyah sees David in the cafe and she is concerned when she hears about the trip.
She's like, hello, I'm back in it again. I've been sitting on my ass again for another couple of weeks. Still not got a job, but I hear that I've got a big scene later with Spider, so I'm just catching up with you to find out what's going on.
So, the racists have a jog around the woods.
It was a little bit cold, didn't it?
It wasn't exactly like the opening in The Silence of the Lambs, but it was still good old run, it looked like.
It looked like it was maybe filmed in Heaton Park,
This wound me up because they're supposed to be going on it was supposed to be a camping trip, and then it got turned into survival camp. Yeah. Then the next minute, they put their tents up within sight of their cars. A bunch of pansies. That's rubbish. And then they're putting their jackets in the car and driving around in the car. No, if you're going on a proper survival camp, you've got to hike everywhere.
Yeah. Like that Freshco's survival camp, they did it properly, didn't they? Back 20 years ago.
Yeah, it got lost on the moors.
Yeah, exactly. So Fred and Curly and Nita and that lot.
Everybody runs back, and Max is last, and he twisted his ankle. And Griff's, like I would be, says...
Not the worst thing to happen to him that day, though.
Toughen up a bit. Stop being rubbish. Why is he last? He's supposed to be young and fit.
Because he twisted his ankle.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Reese caught a rabbit in a snare, and then Griff says, oh, Max, you got to gut it and skin it and stuff. And he gives him a machete. And then Max is like, I can't, I won't do it. Well, he looks kind of annoyed, doesn't he?
He kind of look like Griff's is just testing him here, isn't he? Yeah. He's trying to really kind of turn him into a man, as Griff would probably say. But Max, realises that yet again he's a little bit in over his head here, and he didn't really sign up for this.
He's sulking a little bit. I remember the first time I ever boned a chicken thigh. I nearly was sick. I was like gagging and stuff, but I think I was about 12. So, and I'd never done it before.
Maybe you're tougher than Max.
I wouldn't be able to skin a rabbit.
No.
I don't like the idea of pulling guts out of things.
I'm surprised that Spider jumped in and said, I'll do it if he doesn't want to do it. I know he said to Max later, I wouldn't have wanted to do it anyway, but Spider just seemed surprisingly chill about all the rabbit killing and eating that was going on there.
That being a vegetarian trumps being a not racist? So you think that, like, after being undercover with these racist guys and putting up with all their rhetoric about likening people to crayfish and saying that everyone's invading the country, you think the final straw would have been, I'm not eating rabbit stew.
Yeah, there's so many
really
things that I will do
racist.
for my undercover job, but I'm not eating a bit of rabbit.
Do you think that would have been one of the questions? Like, before we put you in undercover with a white supremacist group, if they offered you rabbit stew, would you eat it? Yes or no?
It's like, do you have any food allergies or intolerances before we put you in with this racist group?
And then he says, yeah, I am intolerant. And they're like, brilliant, that's exactly what we're looking for. So Spider goes over to Max, who's sulking, and Max is worried that Griff thinks he's a loser. Then he goes over to Griff to apologise for later, and Griff says, well, fine, just help Ollie and Dave sort out the grub. And then Griff and Reese are left alone, and they wonder how Max is going to cope with what he's got in the boot of the car. And we all get to see what it is. It's a bomb, and it looked like the sort of bomb that Batman used to run around with.
It wasn't a sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb. It wasn't that kind of bomb.
It did look like that.
It didn't have the little black sphere with a fuse poking out the top.
It just looked like, well, I mean, they're not going to make a really...
Bomb written in white on the side.
Caution, bomb.
It was just a little black
I don't know what a bomb looks
taped
like.
together.
I've never
just like that.
Well, now I know, I guess.
Mm.
So they have their rabbit later, except Spider is like, oh, I'm not eating it. Really, honestly, this is not professional.
Well, look, Griff knew that Spider didn't want to eat it. I'm sure he's come, he can go foraging for
You can't be a racist
mushrooms,
vegetarian, apart from Hitler. Max goes, right, sorry, this is a survival camp. He gets up and he puts his jacket in the boot of a car. What's your tent for?
Well, it's to show how hard he is. It's not like I don't even need a jacket and it's flipping freezing out. It's brassic, but
He
it's
sees
really
the
tough.
bomb and he's like, oh no. Then they all go for a car drive. And Max and Spider are in different cars.
Yeah, so you got Max, Reese and Griff in one car.
With a bomb in it.
Yes. And then Ollie, Dave, is it? And Spider in the other one. Yeah, Dave.
That's a good name, isn't it?
Yeah. So the main characters are with Max, basically.
Yeah, so they go for a little racist drive. And then Griff's like, oh, I can smell some smoke. And then it cuts. You can see the car and there's smoke pouring out of the steering wheel. Why was the smoke coming out of the steering wheel when it was the bomb in the boot that was going to blow up?
Well, it's just got, the motor's something wrong with it, isn't it?
Why?
It just is. Convenient.
So you think that you think that the engine blew up and then it set off the bomb?
Yeah.
Okay, that's logical. So everything blows up.
Even
they pull
Max.
Over.
It blows him like 20 foot clear of the car.
Yeah. Griff says, I can smell some smoke, pull over. And then you see Spider and the others watching this explosion. And Spider says something like,
we better go and check if they're all right.
Looks like our bloody great big bomb's just gone off over there. So Spider, Ollie and Dave rush over and Griff carrots over Max and he's just lying there on the out cold. And
is he breathing? I don't know.
Breathing? Griff says, I'm not sure. Sorry, I thought this was a racist survival camp and you can't even tell if a man is breathing out of his mouth or his nose. Can you possibly think of a way you might be able to test that, Griff? Do you think Griff's way of testing it is to hold his nose pinched shut and see if he starts gasping for air? Oh, he's alive, that's brilliant. Spider says, oh, it looks like a bomb's gone off. And Griff's like, no.
That was the cliffhanger for the advert, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Max is fine.
Max is fine.
We just had to wait 3 minutes to find out.
Spider starts tapping on his phone to try to get the ambulance, and Griff says, no, we'll take him to the hospital while Ollie and Dave sort the car out. So they go to the hospital, and the doctor, who's got a very interesting and deep voice, comes out and says,
she was a lady.
It's a lady doctor, because you're allowed to do that now. And
It wasn't Aggie. I don't know what she's doing, lazy.
No, she should
Where
be
was
there.
she? On strike probably with everyone, all those other nurses today.
On strike, what with the rail people and the post people. So anyway, the doctor comes out and he's
Griff's
like,
hello,
I'm David Platt. What's up with him? And she says he's got concussion, he's got burns, so he's going to have to stay overnight. So
he's got sick
you
burns.
Come and see. He woke up and he went, nice plats. And she's like, ooh. So they go go in to see
Max,
and Spider gets on the phone.
Yeah, Griff because he's saying that he's his dad.
So back in number 8, Shauna's like, oh, where's Max? I haven't heard from him. And David's like, well, he's not going to contact us, is he, in front of all of his mates? So Shauna makes him call and leave a message. So he rings and says, hope you're having a good time. Sorry for earlier, whatever. Meanwhile at the hospital, Max is...
So what are the hospital staff going to find Max's phone, which he's going to leave there maybe? And go, oh, this has got a voice message on. Let's just listen to this. What? This is from his dad? But his dad didn't sound like that. His dad's got a Leeds accent here.
Excuse me, Michael. It's 2022. You can have any number of gay dads.
That's very true, actually.
Could be called David.
Yeah.
So Max has come around at the hospital and he's confused about what's happened. And Griff says, oh, hello, son. Yes, the gas canisters we had in the boot must have overheated and blown up. And the doctor says, I don't understand how that could have happened unless they're exposed to a naked flame.
And spontaneously combusting the gas canisters. I don't think so, Griff.
And Griff's like, well, you're a doctor, aren't you? You're not a gas scientist, so shut up. That's what happened. So Max is like, oh yeah, I don't remember. I definitely don't know.
She might work in the colonoscopy ward.
What does that got to do with it?
That's where you go for the gas doctors, isn't it?
No.
The bum doctor.
No. So she leaves and Max tells Griff that it wasn't a gas canister. I saw a bomb. And he's like, no, you didn't. Shut up. Don't tell anybody because you don't want to end up like the rabbit, do you? Ha 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 ha. Anyway, bye. I like how Griff always says something really scary and then he's like, haha, only kidding, but I'm not really, am I? Spider and Griff go into the
waiting room.
Have a conversation about Max. And Spider says, oh, you shouldn't have let him in that car in the first place with a bomb. Could have died. And Griff's like, shut up about the bomb.
Well, no, Griff's still not telling Spider that there was a
anything
bomb.
About a bomb.
Spider is suspicious, but Griff... He's still clearly not trusting Spider complicitly because he's not telling him about the money. He's not telling him about the bomb. Reese is his number 2. Yeah,
you need to get rid of Reese. So, nighttime, Spider's having another secret phone conversation with his boss, the very tall policeman. And this made me laugh. If the
car had blown up and Reese had been caught in the explosion, he'd have been scattered in Reese's pieces, wouldn't he? Thanks. Carry on.
This policeman, right, has either got somebody to hold the phone up for him for FaceTime, clandestine FaceTime chat in Ginnell's, because they were doing it on the phone, weren't they? So Spider was in the Ginnell and the boss was in
the interview room,
wherever he was, or he's like set up a special.
He's got a little phone
face height. Stand for his phone specifically for FaceTiming informants.
He's a detective inspector. He doesn't hold his own phone.
I'm not holding a phone. What do you think I am? PC. So anyway, Spider's going, oh, you need to try and stop Max from getting involved in this. And the boss is like, look, you never saw the bomb. Nobody's told you what's going on. You haven't got any information. And Spider's like, oh, this is terrible. I think this is awful. Oh, I'm fed up with this. Oh, and they're like, I was really mad with Spider. It's like, it's your job to find the evidence, you stupid idiot. You haven't done anything. His boss should have told him off. His boss was like, going, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. You need to find more information. I'd be like, Spider, you stupid idiot. We put you in there to go undercover, and what have you come up with?
He's trying his hardest. He's going, oh, please tell me who you're getting your money from. No. Tell me about your bomb.
It's like, I'm sorry.
Go on, Griff,
We've hired you for this job, and a little kid's come in, and he saw the bomb, and you didn't. What are you doing? You're rubbish. So Spider's like, I'm getting very frustrated with all this, actually. Hangs up. Well, he doesn't hang up. He's walking through the street, holding his phone up, doing his secret meeting on FaceTime. And then Toyah sees Toyah's like, gotta go, boss, undercover boss man, sorry, bye. And then, oh, Toyah. And Toyah's like, oh, well, you've been on your racist camping trip with your racist friends. And Spider's like, oh, I can't hold it in anymore. I've got to confess. I've got to tell you what's really going on. I'm actually an undercover police officer. And Toyah's like, what a load of bollocks. See you later, loser. And walks off.
We'll leave that revelation for the next episode, for the comeback from that.
I love
We've
this
been
though,
waiting for
because
this
he's
for
like,
weeks.
I know that it did take her a while to believe that he was a racist, but it really feels to me like she's now so invested in the idea that he's a racist that she can't believe he's an undercover police officer. But actually, it makes more sense that would be true rather than he's a racist. And also,
Well, I think both alternatives are a little bit iffy if you consider the kind of character that Spider is.
I
to
know,
be
but
fair,
just the way she replied is the most offensive thing he could consider doing. But actually, is it really? No.
He broke her heart just recently. He lied to her. But he said because about being married and everything. So she's not in any mood to believe anything she's saying.
But can I just say,
although I would have preferred her to go, "Oh, Spider, I love you. Give me a kiss. I'm so sorry I ever doubted you." It does kind of make sense, I think, that she was like, "Yeah, whatever. I don't believe a word you're saying."
Yeah, but if somebody's been caught out as a racist, and then they say, I'm not a racist, I'm an undercover police officer, wouldn't you go, well, nobody would lie about that, that's really far-fetched and bizarre?
She just reacted.
It's not the sort of thing
I think she's going to go home and have a think.
She's going to have a think about it, but it just really made me laugh that she's like, no, you're not. Why? Why? Because he's got a necklace on. It's 2022, Toyah.
I don't like it when they make Toyah Mardy, which is quite a lot. I don't really like it too much when they make Leanne Mardy. So both of these stories this week had a proper Battersby Mard fest, didn't it? And it's like it's not ingratiating either character to the viewers, unfortunately. But I still love them both dearly, so I'll forgive it. But I hope that the next episode, pretty quickly, Toyah comes round to the idea of Spider's true facts about him being a police officer.
Well,
and also I really, for the love of God, hope that we get to find out a little bit more about why he's a police officer, because this still hasn't really been revealed or discussed, has it? We've known for months now that Spider's a police officer, and as long-term Coronation Street viewers and Spider fans who've been like, really? Why would he do that? That doesn't seem to be the sort of thing that would float his boat, the old Spider. I know you can change in 20 years and everything, but maybe we will find out about what has made him become a police officer. I just hope that now is the opportunity for him to explain why he's gone from activist to copper,
Yeah. I'm just going to say, as a police officer, I find him lackluster. I don't rate him at all.
No, he's not that believable, is he?
No, it's not. No, it's not a case of being believable or unbelievable. It's a case of he doesn't seem to really understand what his job is, what he is there for, or what evidence he needs to collect. Because I know for story purposes, and for likability for the character purposes, we have to see him constantly going, "Oh no, just don't. I can't morally stand behind this. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, they're recruiting a boy. It's awful. It was only in it for the racism, not the boy recruiting." You know what I mean? It's like, well, what do you think you're doing there? What do you think was going to happen? Did they not tell you what your job was when you went in? You've got to collect evidence about a crime.
He's just biding his time. He's listening.
He's not biding his time because he keeps going back to his boss and going, "Oh, they're really mean, and they blew a boy up with a gas cannon." You know what I mean? Like, you haven't got any evidence.
He's just being a fly on the wall, which is kind of ironic for a character called Spider.
But he's not collecting evidence.
He's slowly getting... No, I totally agree. They've just had him sitting back for too long. He's fairly useless.
They're ruining his character by making him useless.
I hope that when this is all over, he bounces back, because my memory of Spider, he's kind of a cheeky, cool guy that's kind of stands up against the likes of Les and always things go his way, and he's he's like go good people sort of thing, and at the moment he's things that he's not coming across particularly well.
He's not in
charge I still love Spider dearly as a character, but I want him to be chirpy and just fun when he comes out of this story, because I don't imagine he's going to stay as a cop once this story's over, or he's going to leave the show, and I don't really want him to leave the show straight away after this, because he needs some kind of redemption for me. Maybe that's not the right word, but I want there to be some kind of story where I can wholeheartedly love Spider again, because I'm enjoying he's in there. But that's it at the moment.
I presume we're going to find out on Friday what was the original purpose of the camping trip. Because
Yeah.
they didn't just go to a field to eat rabbit stew and then blow a car up, did they? Why was the bomb
I don't
there?
really know. Was it just a bonding experience? But if so, why couldn't they have carried on doing that at Griff's flat? They've been bonding away at Griff's
and
flat
why did
for
they
the
need
last
to bring
couple
the
of
bomb
months.
with them?
I don't know.
And what was the like? I could understand if they were like, no, I can't understand it because
Well, I tell you, I
you
did.
need to blow something up that's in a built-up area, so you don't go camping to blow up.
I did see a theory on Reddit.
Go on, tell me.
People reckon they were there to bomb the grey squirrels, the invading grey squirrels, get them out of the trees. I like that one.
That would make
Makes more sense. No, I'm not sure what they were planning to do, because if it was just like we need to get away from everywhere, we need to make sure that nobody's spying on us before we unveil this bomb. Okay, they could have done it in the flat. I don't get what it was. Was it just a case of let's see how much hardship we can put Max through and see how tough he really is before we trust him to, they're going to strap a bomb to Max. I don't.
It
I
wasn't
don't
that
know.
sort of bomb.
No, you probably could have tied a cord around it or something. I don't know. It wasn't clear to me what the point of the trip was.
They really did not explain it. It would have just been so easy to have.
And I'm the sort of person, obviously, who constantly banging on about there being more location shoots. It just felt like in this situation, was it because they wanted to blow something up and it's easier to blow something up outside than inside? Maybe.
Well, they're going to test it out, maybe. But then why keep it secret from Spider and... Why do they keep it secret from Spider and
I think they want
Max if they were going to take it on a camping trip with them?
I think they just want to keep it a secret until it can't possibly be kept a secret anymore.
Make any sense.
But
right,
I would have... Oh, go on.
I'll give them props for one thing.
What?
When we go camping, there would not be any room in our boot for a bomb.
That's very true.
I'll give them that.
You don't travel light, do you?
No, they did do that.
Well, that's why they didn't take any girls along on the trip. See,
they're like, can't take Lauren because you fill a car out with like hairdryers.
There won't be any room for bombs there. I think that the scenes. I was looking forward to the racist camping trip, but I felt like it was a little bit of a letdown.
Was it racist at all?
There was only a few scenes out there. I thought the stuff with the rabbit was kind of chilling.
I like that.
And when Griff kind of turns to Max
chilling?
and say, when he was saying to him, right, you've got to do this now.
Hang on a minute. No. What?
What?
No, you bunch of softies you are.
What?
You lot. No.
I'm not. I wouldn't skin a rabbit.
Yeah, but that's not Sorry, you're going to say that's sinister. That just makes me think that... No, you're too removed from...
No, handing Max a knife and saying kind of... He was having a jolly old time on a camping trip and saying, now you've got to do this.
No.
Sorry, that's a bit grim.
It's a bit pathetic to think that's so grim.
No, it's not.
I wouldn't want to do it, but it's not sinister. You shouldn't be saying that. If you eat meat, you shouldn't be like going, oh, it's sinister and dark to prepare food. Like, what would have been creepy?
Way. You can't.
Listen,
if you were to take a random 16-year-old, groomed or not, and said, here, skin this rabbit.
I'm not saying that. I agree with you, but I think that it's a sad indictment on modern society that we're so far removed from where our food comes from that you're calling it sinister to prepare meat to eat.
If you're going on this camping trip, you have your sausages and beans.
Michael, let me say what I was going to say.
Go on.
I think it would have been... You're saying the word sinister. I didn't find that sinister at all. I just thought it was kind of funny that he's so squeamish that he can't even skin a rabbit when he wants to be a racist. I mean, come on. But I thought if you're going to try to create that feeling, you need to have him kill the rabbit.
Mm.
They couldn't. That's what I think they wanted to do, but they couldn't obviously do it because...
Oh, yeah, finish this. Yeah, if they caught it in the trap and said, Max, you need to finish it off.
That would have actually been evoked. Do you see how that's completely on a different level?
Not even young Pat Phelan could have done that. He had to wait for that rabbit to die, didn't he?
Yeah, but you see what I mean? That would have been more evocative of the sinister feeling that you're saying that you got from skinning a rabbit.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's just, I don't know. I would be quite excited to be in on preparing a rabbit to eat it. I wouldn't really want to do it and get my hands dirty, but I wouldn't be like, oh, this is sinister.
I would not.
Do you see what I mean,
I would be
though?
sitting in my tent playing on my Switch and letting all the big boys do the rabbit skinning.
There's a cost of living crisis going on in this country at the moment. You're going to have to learn how to skin a rabbit, and you're going to like it too.
I thought it was funny that Reese was the one that was going to do the flaying of the rabbit, Reese Bolton.
Yeah.
When in the Game of Thrones, again, the Bolton are the best known for skinning people, aren't they?
But my point is that, yes, we are all a bunch of city folk and a bit icky squicky, but you're saying that's sinister, and I'm telling you, people, as a matter of course in their everyday life, prepare food, and it's not sinister at all to hunt and have your own.
Oh, I thought it was.
Well, I'm just saying,
I think it was supposed to be.
I think that they should have had him, like I said, like a little rabbit, maybe caught in a trap. But I guess they couldn't be bothered to get a rabbit wrangler.
Maybe. I think that the camping trip scenes would have been better if they were at night as well. I just felt if they were going for, this is something dodgy he's getting into, having them sitting around a campfire and having the explosion at night, it might have just been a bit more atmospheric.
Probably all these diva actors, they don't want to go out at night in camping in the dark. They want trailers and
the bomb explosion itself as well. I just didn't feel like the tension building up to it. Like they were sitting there. Griff says, "Can you smell something?" The next minute, you can kind of see it exploding in the distance.
What they need to remember is that
could have done better.
As audiences now, we're all savvy and we know how stories are told. And there's nobody in the country, surely, who was sitting there watching this, going, "Oh no, Griff and Max might have died in that explosion," because the story wasn't anywhere near finished. There was no way they were going to be in peril, because it would have been an unsatisfying ending to the story.
It would have been a good twist if Max had been killed off.
It wouldn't have been a good twist. It would have been bad storytelling. Do you see what I'm saying? Nobody was worried, because it wasn't at the end of an episode. For a start, and it wouldn't have resolved any of the storyline threads. So don't waste explosions on the middle of an episode.
But they've been saying for weeks now that the racists have been like, we're planning something big, we're planning something big, and it would have been a bit of a curveball if they'd put in a shock death of a character that we thought was a major character. Sorry, they've been offed in the middle of this story. I know it wouldn't have happened.
It's not a curveball to ruin your own story because you're so excited about surprising everybody.
I didn't think it would. I think it might have just raised the stakes.
No, what do you mean raise the stakes? Killing Max off?
Yeah.
But then, who cares about this storyline?
Especially when Spider's been saying, "I've been trying to get him out. My bosses have been not removing him from the situation. I've been saying, get him out, scare him off. There's a 16-year-old innocent kid in here."
Tell you what,
and they've been saying, no, it's fine, just let him in there. If he'd have got properly seriously injured, maybe even lost an arm or something, I don't know. And then the police would have been under fire for not getting him out of it. I think that would have been quite good.
What this story needed was Max's special childhood friend that he's always been best friends with, who has been there all the time with Max, coming along for the ride, who then was blown up in the car and died.
Well, he did try to enlist, Dylan, into the group the other week, didn't he? They could have sacrificed Dylan for the storyline.
Yeah, why not?
Anyone would have cared about that. But then Sean would have been like, "My son!" again, when that happened. Anyway, so
You've written here, no big deal about Leonard being the benefactor.
I have written
You think
no
it's
big
no
deal.
big deal that your local councillor's secretly funding white supremacist hate groups?
We said when we talked last week about are we supposed to know who the benefactor was? I think you said, "Oh no, it's probably nobody that we know."
Yeah.
But
I
when it turned out,
I think it's good.
Okay.
Do you not? Why don't you think that's good? It makes it even worse because he's in local government. He's supposed to.
I'd have preferred it if it had been a twist and it was a character that we knew or cared more about, that's all.
I can't believe it, Evelyn. You're putting your pension money towards this racist hate group.
Exactly.
She's like, keep Britain British. Oh, Evelyn, you're such a grouchy old
Anyway,
pal.
the story has got a bit more exciting this week. It had been like kind of simmering away for a little bit.
Yeah, I just think it's... I find... blowing up the car. with this bomb.
They could have made the action of tonight's episode with a little bit of a different direction. I think it could have had me on my edge of my seat a little bit more. But at least we have got the confession from Spider to Toyah now.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Is she going to go and tell everybody? He needs to talk to her before she starts saying, God, you know what, Leanne and Nick, my housemates, guess what Spider said to me?
Well,
he needs to get in there fast.
He said I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't even tell you this.
But I assume the next episode will be set the next day, so Toyah has had ample opportunity to tell somebody, but,
but
she
Leanne
obviously
and Nick
won't
tell
do.
anybody.
Well, they've got their own problems to be
Nick's
dealing with. I don't think they
actually.
need to get involved in this one. But anyway, that was quite cool. I wonder, my little theory is that maybe Spider is going to try and get more information from Reese, because a couple of weeks ago, Reese was sort of saying something like, don't you think we should... I can't remember what he was saying. Like, shouldn't we get Griff out? Or I'm fed up of Griff being number one or something. So I think if because Spider knows that Reese knows about the bomb and everything, and there may be other secrets. So he might try and sidle up to him and say, look, I remember what you said the other week about we want to oust to Griff from being top dog in this. Can you give me a bit of info? There was a bomb, wasn't there? And then I think that might be his way to taking him down, possibly. But I still don't want him to be taken down until they have a proper big climactic thing, whatever that's going to be, because they've blown their load a little bit earlier on literally by blowing up this bomb. They need to have a huge payoff for this story, because they're touting this as being the biggest news story of the end of the year, and it's not quite feeling big enough yet. And I don't know when that's going to happen. It might be very, very soon, or it might be in the new year. I don't know. But it was okay, I thought. And I guess that it's going to be triumph for Maria when evil counsellor Leonard eventually gets found out about, and that'll be that, really. Should we move on? Lumps of Daisy. So that one all started on Monday with Daisy being a bit sad because she hasn't heard from Daniel after what happened last week, and should she go and see him? And Jenny says no, Daniel needs to be the one that's doing the grovelling at the moment, actually. So Daisy, to take her mind off what's been going on with him in his article and everything, and being drunk at the doctor's surgery and all that, says she agrees to help Jenny with, I thought it was Christmas fair stuff, but apparently it was a Santa's grotto in the smoking area, which is a bit odd.
So festive.
Is that really the best place to do it? And we didn't even get to see it. Anyway, so Daisy's off dressing up as an elf for the rest of the episode, which was kind of cute. Meanwhile, Adam's trying to convince Daniel, to get in touch with Daisy. And he's just kind of moping around over at number one, and he admits that he's terrified of Daisy having this lump. He's like, he's really like taking all of her problems and putting it onto him still, isn't he? It's like, oh no, my girlfriend could have cancer. I don't think that Daniel, can cope with this. And Adam's like, this isn't about you, Daniel. It's about her. Go and speak to her. But he won't. So Adam has to go to the pub himself to have a word with her. And Daniel doesn't know he's there. And Adam has seen this article on Daniel's laptop, the one that he's been writing, yeah?
Yeah.
And he takes a picture of it to give to Daisy, which melts her little heart, because it's a very lovely article, two paragraphs long, and then it kind of... Did anybody else pause it? I saw that this had happened on Reddit as well. Somebody else had put a picture there, but we'd done it ourselves beforehand. So when Adam sees Daniel's article on the screen, there's like 2 pages about, my wife's died of cancer, isn't it sad? And then another girl came into my life and she's the most wonderful thing that's ever happened to me. And then the 3rd paragraph just breaks into Edgar Allan Poe, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It's a bit of The Raven. How does it start? Midnight clear, something.
And it completely, once upon a midnight weary, as I pondered weak and weary over some forgotten...
It was like, come on, Coronation Street. If you're going to show 3 paragraphs on screen, at least get the person who's preparing it to write 3 paragraphs, because, back in the day, when you maybe couldn't record it, and if you missed it first time, that's it, fine. But people these days are going to pause it and have a look at things like that. So, yeah, poor form, Coronation Street. Also, you used a colon wrong in your first paragraph and a semicolon wrong. So I don't think that English graduate Daniel would have been able to write something so poor as that. Sorry.
The on Coronation, on the subreddit Coronation Street, bad new user bad new with lots of hyphens between their name has posted the same screenshot that we found, and he's titled this himself. Daniel's titled it "Widower Daniel Osborne writes about finding love after loss."
Yeah.
Calm down, love. You don't write your own titles. Thank you very much. And then he's written, honestly, this is not great. The death of my wife felt like the end of my world. I was left with an emptiness I couldn't imagine ever being filled. You know? And then also, hilariously, you've got the Edgar Allan Poe thing, and it's like somebody's typed it out wrong because there's a spelling mistake. And then it gets to wrapping up my chamber door, and then somebody's gone off piece here because it says distinct, applying, easy, open, easy is as easy does. This isn't the full stop easiest full stop. So whoever was in charge of this just went, no one's going to read this. No one's going to read this rubbish.
You underestimate us.
Also, the thing I don't get about it is that it was some of his text, all of his text is like left justified, and then the Edgar Allan Poe stuff goes all the way across the screen.
Nitpicky.
So it really draws your attention to the fact that he's just. I like the idea that it wasn't actually somebody on Coronation Street. In the world of the show, Daniel's like, oh God, this is dreary, isn't it? I was going to start writing out some Edgar Allan Poe.
My favourite poem.
And then he just starts writing a load of crap, and then he's like, I think I self-sabotaged here. And then he submits it anyway, and then he gets an email the next day going, well, we're not
publishing that. Anyway, Daisy's clearly a massive Poe fan. I'll just put her more of a Tinky Winky girl myself. But she thinks it's wonderful, and Jenny finds her sobbing in the back room later, and she's been touched by this article from Daniel about, how she helped him rebuild his life after Sinead.
It says here, right, I started to gravitate towards a woman I would eventually fall in love with. She's funny, clever, and beautiful, way out of my league. So she's just crying because he said she was beautiful and it's going to be in print.
We're not supposed to be to be poring over it in quite so much detail, but if you put it there right in front of us, Coronation Street is going to happen.
We're going to analyse it like it's our English GCSE exam.
Yeah. He's not going to get his job back in teaching after that anyway. So anyway, she's like, I've got to go and see him. I need to go and make up with Daniel. And Jenny's like, oh no. This is the point where Daisy has to become an elf, isn't it? My elf from my Santa's grotto has pulled out. Oh no. Can you be my elf, Daisy? She does a kind of cool kind of sweet talking her into it. So Daniel comes around the pub later and finds Daisy dressed as a sexy elf, and she's like,
Jenny's
I wasn't going for sexy, but I can't help it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
She's got there with her sexy pointy ears and her sexy red cheeks and her sexy green hat.
Oh, sexy. Jenny was like, oh, would you like to be my sexy elf and not think about your breast cancer and your imminent death and your boyfriend being left alone? I've got a special hat for you.
She looked very cool. And anyway, she tells Daniel that she's read the article and she's flattered and no hard feelings, all that. But really, I need a guy that I can rely on.
She's right.
So, nope. But anyway, she soon changes her mind in the next scene because she's post-elfin at the end of the episode.
She's
about got
being around
cheese and onion crisps down her top.
She's been around such a the epitome of masculinity. That's that amazing masculine presence that is Father Christmas.
Yeah.
And she's like, her ovaries are just popping away, and she's like, I can't live without a man in my life. And Father Christmas is already taken, so the next best thing is Daniel Osborne.
Yeah. So
something so erotic about Santa's grotto.
They have a big old snog in the back room, and she goes upstairs, and then Daniel gets a ring out of his pocket. I'd forgotten this happened.
I know, me too.
Until I just read that note just now. I completely forgot that was the cliffhanger at the end of Monday's episode. So he's going to pop the question to her.
Excuse me, can I just say something here? If you cheap out Daniel Osborne and try to make that her Christmas present, you're going to get slapped around the ear.
Do you think it's Sinead's ring? Didn't Sinead have a hand-me-down ring as well or something? I'm sure I remember there being something about him reusing a ring in the past. Maybe he proposed to... Did he propose to Bethany? I can't even remember. But anyway, that's for another day. Probably Christmas Day, let's face it. So Wednesday, Jenny's helping Daisy getting ready for the medical appointment because that's what Wednesday's all about. Daniel's there saying, no, I'm going to stand by you. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be a good boyfriend for you. Come what may, I'm going to help you out with this one. And hopefully it'll be good news anyway. So Daisy's there sitting waiting in the hospital waiting room. And there's this Irish guy that gets chatting to her. And he's a bit maudlin because he's here with his cancerous mother. And he's pretty traumatised by how unfair the whole situation is. And anyway, before Daisy can get too down in the dumps about it, she gets called in for her results, and the consultant that comes in at the table and he starts talking. He's like, how you doing? All right, guys?
Oh, sorry, guys,
okay?
I'm running a bit behind. You know, it's like around Christmas. Everyone's dying of cancer. Anyway.
And Daisy's just like, just tell me about my lump. And he's like, oh yeah, that is fine. It's just a cyst. Just a benign cyst. He does a bit of a TV poetry corner, doesn't he? He says, totally benign and you're going to be fine.
And then he goes, finger guns.
So anyway, hooray, it's fine. I knew it would be. I said last week in the podcast, she's not going to actually have cancer. It's just there to bring back memories for Daniel and for him to prove himself or otherwise, as it turned out, about what a great boyfriend he is. So they all go back, have celebrations in the Rovers, have a bit of a snuggle in the booth later. And this is when Daniel reveals to her that he's known since this morning that his amazing plagiarised Poe article isn't going to be published in the Gazette after all. And Daisy's like, well, you never know. Maybe you should become a teacher again because you're a pretty darn good writer, Daniel. And he's like,
teaching and writing are the same thing.
Maybe I should. So, yeah. I
hated this scene with the man.
You hated everything.
Yeah, with the man in the waiting room. As if Coronation Street was saying to us, look, yes, beloved character, Daisy, our beautiful, hilarious Totty, she's not going to die of cancer, but just remember that someone else out there right now, could even be you, is.
At Christmas and everything.
At Christmas. How do you like that?
I didn't mind that.
I hated it.
I know you hate that kind of thing.
I was like, I can't remember whether it's just you that told me, or if I snuck on the synopsis to check to see whether she was going to have cancer, because I couldn't deal with this. I had to know. So
I just thought that I just presumed that she wasn't going to.
So I was like, okay, good. I can not worry about this. And then this bloke turns up, and his fictional mum's dying, riddled
if you're
with
going to have a
tumours.
scene in the oncology ward, there's got to be someone in it.
It's bad enough. Listen, okay, people are out there watching this who are suffering with it from that, and they just want to relax at Christmas and not be reminded of it. I didn't see the need to have that scene, unless something's going to happen, because he did sit closer to her and kind of like cuddle up to her a little bit. Maybe he's just a liar. Like maybe he's like old sea explorer man.
Jude.
Yeah, maybe he's one of those.
Maybe or a Curtis.
Also, he's trauma dumping here. He's just met this woman. And he's like, oh, my mum's dying of cancer. And she's like, sorry, are you talking to me? What do you mean?
Didn't bother me, but I know that you don't like that, so it's a bit triggering for you.
If he was talking to me about it, I'd say, no, don't want to hear about it. It makes me too sad.
What do you think about Daniel being a teacher again?
No, surely he's not a teacher because he can't help pushing people downstairs.
I can't remember why he quit now. It was something related to not being able to cope with children like Max.
I thought
he just has to push them down the stairs. And didn't like Max reveal that Nikki was a prostitute or something, and he was like, I can't be doing with this these days.
I thought he quit because he was fed up with everybody using his classroom as a meeting hall.
I think that I wouldn't mind if he went back into it. I think it was a bit weird when he pulled out quite so soon, to be honest, after he'd been through that whole PGCE.
Everyone's pushed the kid down the stairs.
I think having, following his father's footsteps, he seems like he's the right sort of thing. He's the right sort of personality to be a teacher. I'd be absolutely fine with him going back.
The logic here
Nikki, please.
Didn't add up, though.
What?
It's like, let's celebrate me not having cancer by you becoming a teacher again because you're good at writing.
Well, they needed to have something to like the touch paper for that little storyline that's maybe going to be happening next year. But for now, all is well.
I don't think so. Daniel can't cope with the stress of being a teacher. He should not be a teacher. He's not cut out for it. It's too difficult.
No, you're absolutely right about that. No, you're right. I'm kind of confusing whether he should do it, whether I'd like to see him do it, and I would like to see him be a teacher. It also makes sense storyline wise, because you have all these kids passing through Weatherfield High, and they all need English lessons, don't they? So it would be helpful to have him there. But you're right, he very clearly showed in his training year or whatever it was that he was having
He can't cope.
He couldn't cope with it. He was pretty good at organising trips to Scotland, but that's about all.
Well, so they say, but did we see it?
No.
The other thing also is that she shouldn't have taken him back, because he proved that he cannot be there for her in any meaningful way when she's going through a crisis, because, no offence, best will in the world, this, is surely not going to be her only health scare she ever has in her life.
Well,
and he immediately dumped her like a hot sack of
that I am very very tolerant. I have lots of forgiveness for couples that I like. So Daniel and Daisy, yeah, fine, whatever, forgiven. Biz and Tyrone, yeah, whatever. Spider and Toyah, yeah. So what, he lied to you all this time? Getting together, it's fine. I'm just a bit of a romantic in that sense.
Forgive me for not finding any sympathy for a man who, at the first whiff of his girlfriend possibly having something wrong with her, immediately becomes a hysterical mess and absolutely makes everything about himself and doesn't help her at all in the slightest.
He's been through traumatic times. His young bride was cruelly taken away from him not 2 years since, or maybe. Well,
nobody can guarantee that somebody's never going to get cancer.
Yeah, he's fragile.
He needs to go to
He's had a bad upbringing.
I don't have sympathy.
I know I do though.
Well, you better not treat me like that then.
Okay.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, totally.
I don't like the idea that you think that's fine behaviour to have.
No, I just like Daniel and Daisy together, and he's been through a rough time. But he's rallying now, isn't he? He's sticking with her.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah, that's fine.
Only because she doesn't have cancer.
He would have stuck with her anyway. He told you decided.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Anyway. Let's go on to the next story.
I'm not impressed at all with Daniel.
Comic relief, Gemma. The couch for the grouch. We're not talking about you. What's going on at number 11? Yeah, it's you.
Why?
What?
You're just pointing at me like...
It's your go, Gemma. Read the notes. What happened with George?
On Monday, George has bought a top secret present for Eileen for Christmas, but he won't show Sean and Mary and Glenda what it is, because he doesn't want them to take credit when Eileen unwraps it. How's she going to unwrap it? Because it turns out it's a posh leather sofa.
Sees it then. I didn't know what it was at this point. Well, with your little theories, you probably could unwrap it.
Yeah. It's one of these red...
Chesterfield sofas it's going to be, isn't it?
Red leather.
Yes.
George is showing everyone the picture.
Oh dear, do you want me to say this?
Jenny
do you
says...
want to save your voice? You're going to do it. You're going to plan through.
Jenny says it's going to make everything else in the room look rubbish. But I'm going to point something else out that nobody's mentioned and is a glaring, obvious fact and makes this incredibly unsuitable as a gift.
What?
It's red. What colour is Eileen's front room?
I don't even remember.
Purple.
It is purple, isn't it?
Does dark burgundy leather red sofa go with pastel purple? No, it doesn't. George, are you colourblind?
The thought that counts, George.
He probably thinks it's blue. Anyway, everyone's like, brilliant. He says it's going to arrive on Christmas Eve. On the way home, Eileen tells everybody that she's bought him presents, and one of them's a pair of earbuds and one of them's a hot water bottle, and she's going to wrap them both up, and then depending on what he gets her, she's going to give him either the good present or the bad present. So he's going to have a hot water bottle.
Well, she was somewhat burned last year by the present of the funeral plan, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that was only a year ago. But I mean, George hasn't been in the show that long. But is this going to become an annual tradition now of what does George get Eileen for Christmas?
I wouldn't mind that. I don't mind silly. Wednesday.
This is the silly story of the week, to be fair.
No, this was the intentionally silly storyline.
Yes.
Lawrence turns up at number 11 and he sits on the sofa and says, oh, this sofa's a load of old crap, isn't it? What a rubbish, absolute dog poo sofa. I can't believe you cretins sit on this disgusting, pathetic pile of crap.
And George is like, I've sat on this sofa many times before, but I feel now is the time to reveal this.
Yeah. It's like, I can't believe you didn't watch those DFS adverts and go, sofa for Christmas, because that's what I would do if I lived in this absolute hovel of a home, Eileen. You're the worst host in the world. And everyone's like, Lawrence, That's really rude of you. George is like, don't, shut up. Eileen's gonna think she wants to buy a new sofa.
I was almost waiting for there to be a total suspension of disbelief with Eileen going, you know what, Lawrence, you're right. I'm going to go and buy a sofa right now and I'll have it home by tea time. Because that's not how buying sofas works.
I got this sofa because it was a showroom. So it's cheaper. Showroom sofa. So, yeah, for some reason George thinks that Eileen will immediately just buy a new sofa on a whim because Lawrence thinks hers is crap. Sorry, George, but not everyone thinks Lawrence is the best be-all and end-all in sofa opinions. So later on, George has to explain to Sean why he told Lawrence to shut up. And later on, George is putting together his plan because he's realised that the sofa has to go in the room without a sofa in it. So they have to get the sofa out, which is something dawned on us recently. So his plan is to get everyone out, to get Eileen out so that everyone can put the sofa. I don't know.
This is really making this more complicated than it actually is.
Not really that.
They need to take the sofa out of the room so they can put a new sofa in.
So George invites Eileen over his house, and she says, "Well, I don't know why we don't live at your house because my house is a hovel, apparently."
That's not quite what happened, but it's the general gist of it. Yeah, she's going to go around George's house for Christmas Eve.
Eileen's such a mug. She should just live with George and charge everybody to stay at her house and become a landlord.
She loves it there. She's been living in that house for 20 years. She's got her roots there now, hasn't she? She's settled
like 5
nicely.
Grown men living in the house with her.
No, and it's really handy because her work's just round the corner.
Well, I'd be moving in with Phil down into Cardiff to get away from that place. So anyway, she's like, "Yeah, I'll stay over your house," and
now nothing could possibly go wrong.
Apart from the fact that he's clearly bought a doll's house sofa.
Yes, clearly he has. We've not seen any spoilers. I don't even know whether this is in the synopses, but I've seen an awful lot of other people online theorising about this one, so it's safe to say that as our collective hive mind that we've made this happen. Although I didn't think about it because I'm not clever like that. I didn't know this was a thing.
You said, "What do you mean? Why would somebody buy dolls furniture and not realise?" And I was like, "Haha. Let me show you all the hilarious goof-em-ups that people have done buying things off Amazon." But you did point out something which I thought was very sensible, and that is that surely you have to measure the sofa to make sure that it's going to fit.
That's what I think. I mean, Eileen does have a very petite front room there, doesn't she?
You're not going to be like, "I don't."
So you can't just buy any random sofa. So surely George must have gone online and said, "Oh, let me just check the measurements first." But he didn't.
Maybe he was like, "I definitely need a 3-seater because hers is a 3-seater, so we need to get."
Did he misread his millimetres for metres or something like that? I don't know.
Well, he'll explain himself.
I also wonder, what is the website that he's bought this on?
Well, lots of people.
If it's miniaturesofas.com, then sorry, he's got nobody to blame but himself.
The alarm bells went off when he said, "Oh, I shopped around and I got an absolute bargain."
Oh yeah, and he said he read a review, didn't he? He was like, "Oh, it says here this is a perfect bit of craftsmanship.
I'll treasure it forever." And
yeah, that's right.
You don't treasure sofas forever,
and
you certainly don't buy them according to how much of a bargain they are, because that just seems suspicious.
Yeah.
So
sorry if we've spoiled this for everybody
Christmas
listening
Day
now, because it's clearly going to happen.
At Eileen's house is going to be everybody standing around awkwardly because they've got rid of the old sofa.
Yes.
And no doubt, instead of doing something sensible with it, like storing it somewhere or giving it to somebody, they'll
chop it into firewood,
burn it or something ceremoniously in the middle of the street.
Yeah, there's always some kind of disaster on Christmas Day, like they haven't put the turkey in the oven properly or something, and this is going to be it for this day.
If this doesn't happen, I'm going to be really mad. Like, imagine on Christmas Day if the sofa just turns up and they're like, "Wow, it fits really well and it's exactly what we wanted, and it was such a bargain too." And then they all stare at the camera like,
What? You thought we were going to...
fake out. Fake.
Yeah, and then the episode ends and Todd and Lawrence get busy on it because that's clearly going to happen as well, isn't it? Todd gave another kind of a little bit of a look at him in today's episode as well. But I thought this was fine. I almost wish that I hadn't seen or heard that particular theory because I'm stupid and I wouldn't have guessed it, and it would have been a nice surprise. But anyway,
sorry.
I'm sure it'll be hilarious. I don't think we're going to get very many scenes of it on the Christmas Day episode, but we'll see.
No, it's going to be too busy with the wedding.
Also this week we have got Summer done a runner.
I can't believe this. Summer ran off, right, last week, and she's still being talked about this week.
Only in like 3 scenes we got of her this week. So there's first scene is Billy and Paul at the police station, reporting her missing, and they're like, yeah, we're going to start looking for her, but she is an adult, you know, she is a grown woman, and if we find her and she doesn't want you to know where she is, we won't tell you. We'll just tell you that she's been found. And then there's a scene with Aaron and Billy in the street later, and Aaron's like, have you heard from Summer? And he's like, nope, but I'm tracking her glucose levels on the app, like I'm a creepy dad, and at least they're good, so she's giving herself her insulin. And Aaron's like, oh, I blame myself for this tragedy. Summer did all this to put my dad through rehab. Oh, it's so terrible.
That's how glucose monitors work.
This one does. And then at the end of the episode, they all meet up in the pub, and ding, there's a text from Summer coming through on Billy's phone saying that she's okay. So they're relieved, and then the storyline gets put to bed.
I think she's been kidnapped by a cult.
It's not unlikely that she's with Esther and Mike at the moment. I mean, for me, the clue was this text at the end of the episode. Like, we haven't seen Summer. We didn't see her depart last week. We got no clue of her this week. I think the fact that, yeah, she sent this message saying, I'm okay, that's just a little bit of a clue that she's been made to do that. But again, it's reminding me, it just feels like a rehash possibly of the Kelly story from earlier this year when she was holed up in that person's basement, wasn't it? And didn't they get her to text Gary and Maria and say she was all right? I'm making this up, I don't remember.
Texted me, but it's not normally how she texts because she's not used any punctuation or capital letters, and she sent me that crazy eyes rolling tongue out emoji.
So anyway, if it turns out that she has been kidnapped, they just need to enlist Gary to go and give Esther and Mike a good kicking, and then she'll be okay. But it's all right, you can leave it for the time being.
I want a scene of her sitting on a sofa with and Esther and Mike standing there, and then she's looking at her phone and she's going, oh, everyone looks like they're really worried about me. And then Mike takes the phone off her and says, don't worry about anything, Summer, you're with us now. We'll take care of you. You don't have to worry about anything ever again. And then he says, I'll text them and let them know you're okay because you're fine, aren't you? You're with us. And then Esther will say, that's right, Summer. How about a nice cup of tea? Decaf tea, because you're going to be pregnant soon, aren't you? Yes, everything's fine. You just relax. You relax because you're going to carry our baby soon. Yes, everything's fine.
Creepy. Christmas creepiness, maybe.
I love it.
I wonder whether this glucose monitor is going to be a bit of a key for something, because is Billy going to find out, is it going to, the level's going to drop or something?
He's going to hold his phone up and go boop, 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 boop.
Is she going to flatline?
She's over here. She's fallen down the sinkhole again. Oh, for God, Summer.
I think that he's going to find out that her glucose levels are dropping, and then he's going to have to try and find her, and then it turns out that that's where she is.
And she's in Mike and Esther's house, and they're not letting her have a biscuit.
But honestly, please, just leave it leave it a couple of weeks at least until you find her. She'll be fine. They're not that bad.
No summer at Christmas. We're not Australians.
Finally, Gemma.
Funny
good,
geography
very
joke.
good. Tie the knot. So basically, Tyrone's still organising this wedding. He's trying to find Evelyn because she's there with James. She had been with James, who's the guy that she's been weirdly friendly with a couple of times, but she ain't there anymore. Me too.
I think he's trying to get her pregnant.
Anyway, doesn't know whether she's going to be there for the wedding, but it turns out the wedding might not even be able to go ahead because Fizz has found herself a last-minute cancellation holiday cottage for like next week. So hooray, all the Dobstapes can go and have a lovely cottage holiday somewhere. The girls think it's amazing. Ruby gets about 3 lines in tonight's episode. Yeah, she's well up to it. I can tell
from Ruby's her voice.
Don't go by her expression or her voice. Look at the words that she said, which was, hooray, that sounds like a great idea. Yes, I would like to go to the country, please, Mum. But when Fizz goes out to get some chips or whatever she does, Tyrone kind of huddles the girls together and says, look, I'm actually planning a secret surprise wedding for your mum on Christmas Day. You got to pretend that you don't want to go to the cottage after all. Okay, we can do that. So when Fizz comes back... Okay, we can lie. Tyrone tells her that the girls have changed their minds. And Fizz is a bit disappointed, but Tyrone says, oh, maybe we can do it next year or something. And so Fizz is kind of satisfied enough with that they're going to get the next year holiday. And when she goes away, Hope manages to get some. She managed to extort some pre-tea chocolate off of Tyrone because she's holding his secret, and
she knows what to do. She's blackmailing him.
Yes.
I was like, said to you, Tyrone's such an idiot. He's giving these children ammunition, especially Hope. What is wrong with you? It's like unlocking Hannibal Lecter's cell door so you can give it a good tidy.
I don't think he had much choice, to be honest. So
No, he didn't. He should have just gone, we
this
don't have the
cottage
money to go to a cottage. Can we not just stay? I'd rather stay here.
trip.
Oh, that would make too much sense. Also, he's such a useless sack of excrement. What's he doing? He's sitting there watching telly with the girls, right? Fizz comes in, starts cooking his dinner. Why isn't he cooking the dinner, lazy arsehole?
He didn't know how. He's a man.
Why is he just sitting there watching television? Get up off your bum.
You just hate Tyrone, don't you?
I hate him.
You're mega not a Tyrone fan.
I
You don't
hope-
like Tyrone, don't like Daniel.
I'm really excited for Christmas Day because I think what's going to happen is he's going to reveal that it's a secret fun wedding that he's planned, and then she's going to go berserk and beat him to death with a chopping board that she tried to kill Jade with.
No, they're going to get married, I reckon.
Because she's going to bring a chopping board with her, because I would.
Well,
she's probably going to bring the chopping board with her because he's even though he's organised a secret surprise wedding, he probably still expects her to cook the goddamn dinner as well.
That is it for this week's Coronation Street, Gemma. Your rant is over. What did you think?
I quite liked it.
We've got 2 episodes. We need to score it. We need a character
I thought it
of
was
the week.
alright. I was
I thought
only
it was fine.
nitpicking. It's just all the fun, isn't it? It's the fun of nitpicking. You got to have a bit of a nitpick, can you? Otherwise, I'd start talking about politics or something that actually matters.
I thought it was fine. It was like some people I've seen have absolutely loved it, and they thought that the character of Damon was the best thing since sliced bread. I am waiting to be proven on that one, but like I said, I'm glad that Jacob and Amy look like they're getting a story for early 2023. The Max stuff was hotting up a little bit, even if the execution of it didn't quite meet my expectations. And I'm glad that Daniel and Daisy are back together, because I'm a bit of a sucker for that kind of thing. So I am going to give this week's Coronation Street 3 cheese and onion crisps in Daisy's bra out of 5. Character of the week wise, it's a bit of a hard one, this one. There's nobody that definitely necessarily stands out. What's your score while I have a think about my character of the week? You're not allowed to think, you just need to say it.
Give it 3.5 actually.
Oh.
3.5 unreliable elves.
Yeah.
Because she's got cheese and onion crisp down her bra, so how can you expect her
She's
to do
not the unreliable one. The unreliable elf is the one that didn't
I
turn
would
up at all.
say that Daisy's unreliable in general.
No, she's great. She's switched on. Right, okay. Character of the week. Is it Summer? Because she didn't come in, didn't come back for a week. Don't think we can include that. I'm going to say
The deep voiced doctor.
I'm going to give it to maybe Spider, because he did his confession at the end, but he was a bit useless for the rest of the week. I don't want to give it to Damon early on just because he's new, or Jacob just because I kind of like that character. I'm going to say Daisy is my character of the week this week, just because I kind of like her. And although she may have been a little bit of a sucker for taking Daniel back, it was nice that she showed forgiveness. And I thought that Charlie Jordan was awesome in all her scenes as well, and she made a very sexy elf. Who's your character of the week?
Can you stop describing her as a sexy elf?
I didn't.
Please?
It was in the script. I'm just saying what I'm just saying what the
You
other
wouldn't
people
like it
said.
if I started going on about Damon's on the scene. What a bit of Toyah he is.
I
check him
wouldn't
out.
mind.
I like a bit of rough.
I know you've only got eyes for me.
Well, it's because it wouldn't sound true, because I literally.
Have you noticed I haven't had a shave today? I'm looking all stubbly and rugged.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Just
I don't.
like
I just
Damon.
really don't. It doesn't. I don't have any thoughts about whether someone's handsome or not.
Apart from me.
No, you're lucky.
Who's your
Okay.
character of the week? Who is your character of the week?
I don't know.
Well, you must say.
It's
Go with your heart.
going to be Spider.
Is it?
Well, I have to say someone.
Give me one reason why.
Oh, because he's so dream. He said drippy. Because he's so sexy and hunky. He would make a sexy elf. Yeah.
He's too tall to
like
be
that?
an elf.
No, but it'd be comedic.
Okay.
It's like Elf. It's like the Will Ferrell, hilarious, fantastic Christmas comedy film that everyone thinks is the best thing that's ever existed. Elf,
So
where
you're
he plays
going-
an elf who's too big.
You're going with Spider for no particular reason.
I'm going with Spider because I think he's facilitating the plot by being a bit useless.
Okay.
Which I think is good to get story, keep story going. Because if it was like actually efficient, they'd all be banged up. Don't you think?
Very good point. And we wouldn't have got to have an explosive camping trip.
If I was his boss and he's going, I'm worried about Max and it's so much danger he's in. It's like, well, speed it up then, and he wouldn't be in danger anymore, would he? Because they'd all be in prison.
Anyway, speaking of speeding it up, I think we need to call this street talk to a conclusion at this point.